Okay, NBA Action 94 by Sega Sports. Let's have a bit of a look. Going to do a quick review. Going to have a look at the package design and the just the writing on it, and some of the key features of this game that sets it apart from the others. I've personally never played this one. Back in my day, we had NBA Showdown 94 and we had NBA Live 95. So this Sega Sports brand I wasn't particularly familiar with. So I'm really excited to have a bit of a look. Okay, let's start with the cover. So we have the very distinctive NBA Action logo with the key setup and the all-important NBA logo. We have the Sega Sports logo with the star in the A, which has that very, very American feel to it. We have this is the Genesis version. Obviously, in Australia we had and UK I think we had the Mega Drive. So. It's same game. The only difference for those who don't already know, it runs at 60 Hertz instead of 50 Hertz, which affects the frame rate just a little bit. We have the Sega seal of quality, and we have the feature that it includes all teams and 300 players. I'm not sure if that's all the players or not. I can't remember. Really interesting feature is you can play up to 5 players in one. Assuming one system. I think there were link cables and all kinds of things you could do with the Sega that would enable you to play. I can't remember what the maximum is, but so 5 players, 1 person per player on one team versus the computer, I imagine, or perhaps 2 versus 2 or 3 versus 2. I'm not sure what the feature is, but that's a really cool feature and would have been great for a birthday party or something. And the biggest, most notable things here are that it's hosted by Marv Albert, the great Marv Albert. I've had a bit of a listen. There's all these famous catchphrases there, so that's really exciting. And interesting choice of players on the front cover here. We have Kendall Gill trying to dunk on someone I had to actually look up, Purvis Allison. So Kendall Gill, nicknamed KG, and Purvis Allison, nicknamed Never Nervous Purvis. So clearly he's not nervous about this situation. His hand is literally right in front of the ring there, touching the ring. So I'm not sure what the outcome of this particular move was. Kendall Gill holding his arm down here, getting a bit of lift. And watching in the foreground is, known as possibly one of the greatest dunkers of all time, Shawn Kemp. He's not featured in this one. He's actually just having a bit of a look, helping out the teammate, boxing out his own teammate there. And I wish I could remember what those shoes are, but they look really familiar. Interesting choice to have Kendall Gill. I actually had a look at the statistics for the 92-93 season. Pardon me, and he actually had a higher statistical season than Kendall Gill. So interesting choice. This was around the time personally when I was getting into basketball. So the Sonics were my favourite team. I'm not fussy who they put on the cover. The fact that it's a Sonic makes it very exciting for me. If I saw this on the store shelf, I would have purchased it. I don't know if it was available in our particular region, hence why I probably had never really heard of it. So let's look at the back of the cover. It's got a lot of dot points here. NBA Action at its finest. The most complete NBA game with 300 players, all 27 teams, and special Hall of Fame option. All hosted by Marv Albert. And just so you don't know, Marv Albert, commentator for NBA on NBC. Anyone who doesn't know that probably isn't watching this video. Realistic features, fast-paced 5-on-5 action. Select a 20, 40, 82 game season. 93-94 NBA rosters including Patrick Ewing, Karl Malone, Shawn Kemp, Scottie Pippen and more. Battery backups saves everything. Obviously that would be important if you're going to play a full season. Great NBA gameplay, speed bursts, substitutions, 14 different styles of rim rattling jams, adjustable defensive intensity for each player, run patterned offensive plays, set screens, clear out. Special Hall of Fame teams, including three teams of all-time greats, including Rick Barry, Bill Walton, Jerry West, Hondo Havlicek, Pistol Pete, Willis Reed, Walt Frazier, Bob Cousy, and more. And we've got some screenshots here. We've obviously got the man himself, Marv Albert. He's a bit of a feature of this game. I'm surprised they didn't just have his head on the front of the package. Just Marv Albert right here. The amount of pumping they're doing, but I think at the time it was. I know with Mega Drive, or Genesis, whenever they brought out a game, they always any feature that was a technical feature, they'd really highlight it. So having digitized voice in a game is quite a new thing, and it was very hit or miss. So wait to see what it's actually like. And then a couple of screenshots. They don't really tell us much except that it's an isometric view game, which is interesting because NBA Showdown that I played, which was the same season, was a side-on view, which was fine. It was fine. The depth perception was a bit odd, but that would be the case as well with an isometric game. So we've just had a bit of a closer look. We just appreciate Marv's. I'll just move the thing. We'll just appreciate Marv's full head of hair there. The great NBC commentator. It's 2019. He's still going. He misses a few calls. He's got what's called Marvisms. So he calls out Westbrook's name, even if Westbrook's not on the court. And I've heard him call someone Paul. I've heard him call someone George Paul, and I'm thinking maybe he was saying Paul George, but it wasn't even a Thunder game, so I'm not sure. But it's always a character. And here's the great Kendall Gill. It's a close-up of a Topps finest card, and Never Nervous Purvis for those who want to close. Okay, so let's have a closer look at the game. Here we have the splash screen with the nice animated logo, and number 50, I believe that would be David Robinson, maybe. The colours don't look familiar. I might be a bit confused, but they didn't mix up the colourways too much with the old NBA teams, not like nowadays where they, some days they're in bright pink and other days they're in camouflage, which would be difficult to play in. But yeah, here we have the main screen. So I'll just click on. Okay, so main menu, we've got exhibition, season length. Obviously, if you click new season, it gives you 82, 40, and 20 games as advertised. I'll just go exhibition. I might click through. So we've got a lot of the usual teams. If there are older logos, there's a classic, my favourite Seattle team. I'll just go through them here while we enjoy the soundtrack. So the New Jersey Nets and the Washington Bullets. So as we know, Washington changed their name to the Wizards. It was due to glorifying gun violence in the States. It's obviously a huge problem over there, and remains a huge problem today. That was I think when they wrote Bullets, I think maybe they were referring to their speed. Okay, so here we are again. I've had a bit of trouble working out how to get to the start screen once you've started a game. Can't seem to work out how to do that. So I'll pick a team. Might go the Boston Celtics, the old Boston Celtics. And we'll just get into it. Okay, good screen. So it's a bit of a down year for the Celtics. McDaniel, Pinckney, Parrish, Gamble, and Douglas. Not 100% familiar with a lot of these guys. Versus Oakley, Smith, Ewing, Starks, and Doc Rivers. So let's get into it. Okay, straight off the bat, it's side on, which is interesting, considering. Okay, so it tilts to the isometric view. Yeah, I used to tend to get a bit motion sick. Ooh, okay. So it kind of tilts it. It shifts the perspective. Because again, it's not 3D, it's artificial 3D. It's a drawing, it's a flat sprite drawing still that is made to look 3D, like what you draw on graph paper as opposed to a rendered 3D. So that what's happening there is it's more like flat sprites to make it. Yeah, it's animating some pictures of the court, but it's quite convincing. The gameplay is quite smooth actually. Still working at the controls. So pass is A. Okay. Oh, shot fake for B, and shoot is C. Okay. It's quite smooth. One of the issues is, ooh, nice dunk animation there. One of the issues is it's hard to tell the players apart. Like they all sort of appear the same height, and the colours are a bit off as far as the floorboards go. It's probably would have possibly looked a bit nicer if it was just a flat colour, but they were really aiming for that detail. The sound is good. The bouncing of the ball's a bit light, but overall it's pretty good. Got the nice logos down the bottom. The gameplay, ooh, some interesting animated moves. They've emphasised the special moves. Not sure how many moves, how many I'm going to see, but okay, let's shoot some free throws. So nowadays they have a lot of sliding scales and things. Okay, he's just dribbling it like he would any ball, not the free throw shooting animation. Okay, so it appears you have to do something. Oh, so I've got Parrish now, so he don't know if he was a particularly good free throw shooter. Okay, he's dribbling it the same way. No. Okay, I'll just tap the button. Okay, that didn't work either. So yeah, that tilting of the screen, it tends to affect the controls while it's happening. It tends to be a bit jerky. But for the time, this is actually pretty good. I want to hear some Marv Albert calls. Alright, shoot it. Not a lot of commentary.
Their shooting woes continue. Rejected.
Oh, rejected. Okay. Yeah, so you can hear Marv's voice there.
What a play.
What a play. So, yeah, there's a weird hissing sound. I think that's meant to be the crowd. So there's quite a few layers to the sound. It's off the mark. So these are his catchphrases. I wonder if they would have been given license, obviously, but I think maybe they just recorded them from video of him calling games more so. Yeah, it's a really good game for the time. I would have really enjoyed this, even with its, you know, it's sort of be good to watch the NBA Live 95 and see how much difference there are between the players, because it's very hard to tell who's who. That's one thing. Oh, he was just holding it and I just took it out of his hand. Alright, pass it. Shoot.
That's off the mark.
Okay. Yeah, that transition is a little bit clunky. But you can see they had a problem. They don't want each team to have an advantage, I guess, or a disadvantage from not having the right angle. So that's their way of solving the problem and not having to have the processing power of 3D, which really wasn't that common in the Genesis and Mega Drive, as we all know. So yeah, that's probably about enough. That's a really good game. Yeah, I'd probably give this an 8 out of 10 really for 1994. Okay, stay tuned. I'll be reviewing. Thanks, Marv. I'll be reviewing the David Robinson NBA Action 95 next. So tune in for that. We'll see what the differences are and whether it's a better game or what the special features might be.